Welcome along to another on-road podcast video. Today I wanted to give you a cheat sheet for that race day process to maximize both car and driver performance. So let's get on. First up, food, really important. Want to make sure you're staying alert, full of energy, and being able to give your car and your performance its best chance to flow out of those thumbs and deliver the finals and the qualifying that you really want. So first up, make sure you get that healthy breakfast. Don't be hanging out down at McDonald's if you can possibly help it. We all get sucked into a double sausage and egg McMuffin and hash browns, but if you can, really try to make sure you get some form of wholesome breakfast inside you, however that may be. Get some snacks, healthy snacks to graze on all day. If you can help it, try not to have too big a lunch. You overload yourself with those carbs, chips and all that nonsense. You'll want to have a little siesta in the afternoon, right when heat 4 or round 4 is and the final. So try to keep lunch light and keep grazing all day. Have a big blowout in the evening if you need to, but keep lunch light. Then you want to make sure your pit space is to your liking. I think it's very easy to get sucked into a group of lads. Someone puts you in a corner that's not particularly great. If you can, try to select your pit space, the spot that suits you best, and not necessarily your friends and family. I think that's really important. Then the track. You want to turn your attention to what the challenge of the day is and get yourself up onto that rostrum. Give yourself 5 minutes to take a look at the track, check out where you want to stand. Everyone has their own agenda on where they believe they need to stand and the perspective they need to have on certain bends. I believe it's not as important to have that perfect perspective. I think there's more goes on in our feels and fingertips than just simply what's coming in through our eyes. So take a look on the rostrum, see where you want to stand, and go from there. Then get yourself out on that track. Remember, the guys and girls have been laying that track down, so no grip is down as yet, and you're all good to walk around the track and take a look at maybe some chicanes where you might be able to straight line it, or the best line in to the sweeper off the straight. All those various nuances of a track might have a bit of a bump. They certainly are big into track walking in buggies. Don't really see it in 12 scale or on-road classes, and I think it's a really important part of taking in a track. Then get your heat timings. I think this is as important as any part of this cheat sheet, because you want to find out what time the first heat is on. Then you can start to educate yourself on when you want to put on additives, start charging batteries, etc. So that will then give you that additive time. And I think once you've got that the time that you want to put your rears on, put your front additive on, and get those lipos charged, get that written down on your pit board, because all of that is part of the process to give you a nice consistent performance in your car when it gets down on the track. And then once it's nice and consistent, you'll be able to then start to make those adjustments. If you haven't checked it out, check out iCharger Secrets Part 2. I talk about presets and how you can really get a cycle that takes care of all of your lipo charging, gives you a nice clear time of when you might want to put that lipo on, depending on what heat you're in. Again, get those tyres dried off, get that lipo in the car at the very last possible moment to get maximum out of that lipo. Car maintenance, something that I'm always really hot on these days, something that I was neglecting in the early days, but any form of bump that I would have, I'd always get that rear end off, get it straightened out, check that nothing's come loose. They're going through some really high forces, so if you do have a bump, really important to check the rear end of the car. Front end of the car as well, that's obviously a hugely important area. If you've made that bump on the front, the steering is going to be out. Very, very easy for camber to change, caster to change. Certainly not so much on these newer cars, but certainly want to be cleaning off those kingpins, re-glooping them when you can, and always check for those spring compressions, because they are a swine if they compress, and then you're hunting for tweak all over your car when really it's just a little spring that's compressed, which could be easily changed and sort out the tweak on that car. And then the big one is the body shell, or BOP D shell. That was in there obviously on purpose for any rubbing on the carpet or the tires. You know, that car has got pitching and rolling front end, the front corners of the car, always a bit of a nuance that tuck in and dig into the track. You think your car's not handling very well, when actually you've got the front of your car nose diving into the carpet and trying to pivot around the nose of the body shell. And make sure the back end of the car as well, those sort of little winglets aren't digging in when the car's rolling over, and making sure that the tyres aren't rubbing on the inside. You'll see a nice black wear mark if they are. So that's a really neat, quick, tidy cheat sheet to give you some key points on how you want to really manage your day the best way you can. Hopefully that's been of some use. Really love to hear your comments and your thoughts on it. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, share with your friends. Let's get this channel growing and spreading the love of 12th scale and all on-road classes. Look forward to seeing you all sometime soon. Take care of yourselves.